Ever hear a client or potential client say something like, I don't want to hear all that legal mumbo jumbo? Or maybe a client tells you, I don't want to read the contract because it's full of legalese and I won't understand it. And then they haven't even read the contract. Or you explain something to a client and they stare at you with a look of despair and they tell you, I didn't understand what you just said. Yes, it's the law, it's complicated, but you simplified it as best you can. What more could you possibly do? Hi, welcome to Front Porch Lawyer. I'm Francine, your host. So do you remember the story of the three little pigs? Of course you do. Everybody remembers the story. And everybody remembers the outcome of the story. Everybody remembers the lesson from the story. And because of my background, I take that lesson and turn it into the 7 P's, which are proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Now, if I wanted to tell somebody about proper prior planning, would it be better to tell them the story of the three little pigs or explain the 7 P's? What's the difference? The difference is, in one case, it's a story, and in the other case, it's a set of principles that have to be explained. Now, as lawyers, we often get caught in the principle. We get talking about the principles, the rules of law, because that's what we were taught to do in law school. That's what the case briefs were. So our brains have been trained to think in terms of the principle, the rules of law, and how they apply to multiple sets of facts. And sometimes we get stuck there. And when we express our ideas to clients in terms of principles, they don't really understand or hear us. And it's because our brains have evolved to think in terms of story, to remember in terms of story. People have great memories when you tell the stories, like the three little pigs. But when you explain the principle, it goes in one ear and out the other ear. They often stop listening the moment you start speaking because the brain knows these are principles, this is not a story. So what would be different if we told it in terms of story? Think about some of the best trial attorneys out there. When they get in front of a jury, what do? They tell great stories. Think about some of the best briefs that you've read, where you've read the statement of facts and you know exactly what the result should be because the statement of facts told a story, usually a great story. So here's what you might do the next time. Before you start speaking to your client the next time, is if you have something to explain, think about how you could do that by telling a story instead of just explaining, this is the law and these are the consequences of the law. How could you tell a story? If you start telling a story, your client's not going to check out on you. You don't immediately think you're going to be talking about legal mumbo jumbo because you're telling a story. They don't hear the legalese because they're hearing a story. And who doesn't love a great story? So tell the story to reveal the principle and your client will get it and remember it. So people relate to well-told stories and they see themselves in the story. Think about the three little pigs. Which one are you? Which one do you want to be? At first, the story seems like it's about three little pigs and a wolf, but quickly you realize it's about you. That's your goal in telling a story so that your client sees himself or herself in the story and realizes as you tell the story that the story is about him or her. Start storytelling more often than not. And I'll see you back here at Front Porch Lawyer. Thank you.